Hello scholars, my name's Tesla7, and today I'll be going over my predictions for Season 18's story. Keep in mind, none of this is based on any knowledge of what Bungie's working on, it's more just me seeing where the story might be going based on the lore and some previous patterns of Destiny storytelling. That being said, let's get right into it. So, to figure out what's coming, we should think of what hasn't been touched in a while. Two large concepts come to mind, Rasputin and the Fallen. We know that Anna's been trying to get Rasputin into an exo body ever since the season of Arrivals, and the pattern of recent seasons focusing on a specific group of allies or enemies recently most likely has the Fallen next, unless Bungie breaks this pattern. Now, these two concepts are able to be tied together really well given the history of the Fallen Splicers with SIVA, which brings me to my next point. The Destiny community has been wanting SIVA back for a long time now. They even made a fan-made concept season about SIVA a few months ago. Now, I wasn't able to find the original posting, so take this with a grain of salt, but I remember a Bungie dev responding to the people behind the season, stating that they'll look into having some sort of return of SIVA. This would work well in the lore since the SIVA replication chamber we destroyed at the end of Destiny 1 was just one of many in the system. You might be thinking, so what? A Bungie dev saying they might reintroduce SIVA sometime doesn't mean they'll actually do it, let alone in this specific season. And normally I would agree, but also consider that they're reintroducing a raid this season and have confirmed that it will be either Wrath of the Machine or King's Fall. We know that while these reprised raids aren't directly connected to this season storyline, Bungie does seem to try to make sure that the themes match, like Vogue coming back during a Vex season. So, we get either a Hive season with King's Fall after just having had a whole Hive season and expansion for that matter, or we finally continue the Rasputin storyline after it's been on hold for about a year and a half, and get Wrath of the Machine, perhaps even with some Fallen Splicers in the mix. The second one seems to be lined up much better, especially with the way Bungie rotates through concepts and groups in their seasons. So, we have Rasputin, SIVA, and the Fallen as possible focal points in this season, maybe even all of them at once. But what would this look like? Well, it could vary a lot depending on the story Bungie wants to tell, of course, but I'll give a few predictions as to what might happen. So, maybe, when Rasputin was preparing for the darkness, he reactivated SIVA in order to build up weapons to fight the darkness. But when he was shut down, the SIVA just kept on multiplying as per his orders because he wasn't there to shut it down. Now, in this season, it's begun to multiply out of control, and we need to get Rasputin back up and running in his exo body in order to stop SIVA from spreading out of control. To do this, we might enlist help from the Splicer Mithrax in the Fallen House of Light. Maybe there could even be a return of Aramis since she has ties to SIVA. Or maybe it's the reverse, where we try to get Rasputin online so that we can get him to activate SIVA. There could be any number of reasons for wanting SIVA, weapons to fight the darkness, maybe the Fallen House of Light needs it, building up defenses in the city, etc. Or maybe it has nothing to do with SIVA, and it's all just about reviving Rasputin, maybe with the help of the Fallen. SIVA not being part of this season is certainly possible, since there isn't really a specific storyline that needs to be continued unless it's tied to Rasputin. That being said, Bungie knows how much the community wants SIVA back, and I feel like they would want to capitalize on this demand. There are just so many possibilities, and everything seems to perfectly line up for Bungie to explore these characters and concepts and develop them further. So yeah, my prediction is that we will have some combo of Rasputin, the Fallen, and maybe SIVA. I guess in a week or so, we'll see if I was right or not. As always, my Patreon will be in the description below if you want to support this channel and help keep it ad-free for everyone. With that being said, I'll see you next time, scholars. Keep studying.